not really sure I'm going to post this. Walking the dogs. Not much I can do on the car till this new bit arrives. But I've had some really interesting comments that have given me a bit of food for thought. Now, some people were concerned about the size of the drill bits I was using to tap out the metal. And you know what? I think that's an excellent point. I'm going to go and see what size that was, compare it to what it should be, and see how we're doing. And I think a few of the comments are right. I think I replied hastily and thought to myself, no, it's all Imperial. Those bits weren't Imperial, I can guarantee that. And I'm pretty sure the ones I've ordered aren't Imperial. So that is something I'm definitely going to check. Secondly, there's been a bit of controversy about how we should approach these repairs. Now, some people are thinking that you can weld nuts straight onto the back of the plate. I'm inclined to agree. The reason I don't want to do that is because that's exactly what happened to the previous repair. And guess what? It failed. One of those threaded rods was not attached to anything on the inside. The weld had failed. It's very difficult to get in there and weld it properly. Somebody else has suggested maybe I cut the whole thing out. Well, I'm not inclined to do that because the top arm is obviously the suspension, and the geometry is all set by those fixings, so I don't really want to do that. So I've been thinking, what can I do? What can I do to make everybody happy? But more, it's not about making people happy, it's making sure that the job I'm doing is safe, or as safe as can be. And I think I have the solution. I think I might weld nuts onto the back of the plates that I've made and weld those plates onto the back of the original plates. That way I'm doing everything. I'm literally doing everything. I've got nuts, I've got tapped and dyed plates, and I'm not messing around with all of the geometry and the structural beam. I mean, the truth is that cross beam there has already been hacked about quite enough. I mean, it's impossible to tell you everything I see when I'm doing it. But I think, it wasn't great, was it? And don't forget, if you look at the previous videos, it's also been hacked to pieces. Oh, look, someone's put some paving stones down. That's nice. It's been hacked to pieces on the inside of the car. So that little piece of box section is really quite vulnerable. So I don't really want to hack that about anymore, because as much as these bolts are structural, guess what? That beam's structural too. It's all been refurbished. Sorry, it's very nice. I've been here for a few weeks. There's a lot of talk as well about, these are all structural components and this, that and the other. But the way I look at it, if those threads are good, both with the nuts and the plates, and I can get to the correct torque settings, which I would do naturally, and I may even test that, then the friction created by clamping the lever arm onto that beam is effectively what's going to stop that whole thing from twisting and moving. I need to reach torque settings. I need to make sure it's tight against that beam and that the threads can hold that. If the threads can't hold it, then they'll just rip straight through. I'm never going to apply more pressure onto it, and this is something I can check. So then my thoughts really, I'm going to wait for this new bit to arrive, probably weld on a bolt to the back of the plate that I've just made, and then weld that plate onto the back of the original plate, and then clamp it all together. Torque test it, and that's that. That's all I can do. I don't think it's worth trying to take more out. There's nothing wrong with bolts. There's nothing wrong with threads. They hold the whole car together. You have to remember, we're worrying about some bolts when actually that chassis is bolted to the cab. There's one bolt that holds the lower arm. The whole of the lower front suspension is held on, bolted through the chassis with one bolt. Nothing else. So there you go. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's all about getting the torque settings. It's all about making sure that it can hold what it's designed to hold. And that's that. So, yeah, but having said all of this, I really appreciate the comments, because without them, I wouldn't be overthinking things. Not overthinking things, I wouldn't be delving into things. And I think a bolt onto a plate is definitely just better than a plate. And it's definitely better than a bolt. So there we are. So anyway, I've got a really long walk today. Well, I don't have to, I just want to. Got up early, thinking about cars, or this car in particular. And then, yeah, spend some time with the family this afternoon. And maybe have a go at drilling and tapping tomorrow. We shall see. Besides, it's nice spending time with the dogs. They don't talk back that much. Anyway, see. My God, she really is silly. Oh, there she goes. Beautiful day. Come on, Jet. Just stunning, isn't it? I love being in a workshop. I love being outdoors too, you know. Definitely not started off as a car video, is it? Sorry guys, but just beautiful day. Absolutely stunning. Last sort of warm day, I reckon, for a good few months. Let's make the most of it. Looks like dogs are anyway. Silly girl. Well, you've just seen me walking the dogs and having a little think about what I'm going to be doing. In the meantime, I've reread some comments and also had somebody reach out and offer some mounting positions cut out of a scrap car, which is so kind and so thoughtful. I said I'll get back to them tomorrow because I was going to work on it, but I thought, you know, I'm going to have a little go at it today. Just to get a bit of confusion, maybe it isn't confusion, I don't know. I'm not tapping the hole out with the wrong size. I've bought an Imperial tap set. Everything there's Imperial UNF, and it's the right size for the bolt that's going in. I'm drilling out with a drill bit, and I've checked all this out as well. That is a metric 6.5, but it's microns different from what it should be in Imperial. Not too sure why tapping and dying out a plate would be a death trap. I just can't work it out. It's either going to hold or it's not going to hold, and the thread's going to fit or it's not going to fit. I'm not forcing it in. I'm not, you know, it's just effectively making a bolt. But anyway, I'm going to have a mess around, see if I can. The other drill bits, the replacement drill bits arrived as well. So let's have a bit of a mess around with this. Let's see if I can put it all together, maybe weld a nut. I think I'm going to weld a nut onto the back of the plate just to make everybody and myself, you know, confident with what I'm doing and that things aren't going to fall off. I'm quite aware that this is structural, and I'm not just messing around thinking that, not knowing that this is actually connected to the wheel in some way. It's pretty bloody obvious, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm going to have a little go, because it's so kind of that person to offer the assistance and that scrap part. So let's see what we need to do, and if I need to cut out and put this donor part in, then that's what I need to do. But let's see if we can make this work first. So yeah, that's what we do. To be really clear about things, this is a (5/16) UNF. Let's see if we can focus. Let's try and help this out. Sorry guys, but I can see a lot of people worried for me, which is very kind, but I want to just show you exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I think you might have just seen that. 5/16 UNF. That fits in lovely. Fits in great. It's free flowing. Both of them are the same. If I take, bear with me. Sorry. I'm just taking that off. No problems. if I take this stainless steel, put that in, no problems at all. Needs a little of the burr there. But my point is that all I've done is made a bolt. I don't see how I've knackered anything or how any of this is going to be much of a death trap. I mean, I'm going to finish making the one plate I was doing before. I'm going to see if I can dig up some nuts and make sure I've got enough room to put them in there. I mean, yeah, I should do. I could probably put a nut on the back of that. Don't see why not. And take it from there. Not really too sure what the death trap is. I tell you what's a death trap. That was a death trap. Just to explain as well, I am nervous about cutting this all out. Although it would seem like a great option. Again, like I've explained before, the geometry, I'd have to get it absolutely perfect. And the geometry would need to be perfect. And perfection is sometimes what I struggle with. But let's see how we get on today. And let's just see what we can do. And for welding purposes, I can get into there. So anyway, that's the plan. I'm going to make up another plate. So 2 more holes drilled. The new bit was very good. The other one must have been getting a little bit blunt. And here we are. Imperial 5/16 NF. Where's the camera? There you go. Oh, just there. There you go. So, I'm going to repeat the process of tapping these in. It's gone well on the other side. I've used the shock absorber as a template, pop. Let's see how we get on. Tap these in, no, dye these, I don't know. And then offer it up. And if needs be, we can put some bolts, dig out some bolts from somewhere and tack them, weld them on in place as well. So let's see. Right, so there we are. These two have lined up fine. No particular problem. You can see the threads are not mangled. So I've been thinking a little bit more. Now I know my little walk I was thinking about welding the nuts on now to the back of these plates. But actually what I think I'm going to do is leave this open for the time being. And when it comes to mounting the shock absorbers back on, which feels like a long, long way away, I can then put them on afterwards. So I will be doing that. Oh, hello, Jack. Come to help. But not until I absolutely need to. So what I'm going to do now is tidy up around here, use my finger sander to get in and actually, I'll show you what I'm going to be doing with the light so you get a better idea. I've got to just clean up the inside there, get it ready for any kind of welding, and tack along the side here and along the top. And then I'll clean that up. Can you see in there now? Yeah, you can. I've just got to make that surface flat as well, where that horrible captured nut was. It really was horrid. I mean, obviously everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I'm quite confident with what we're doing here. I think it's going to be a pretty good fix. Certainly better than the old one. So, what's next? Yeah, tidying that up, and then finding some nuts actually, because I'm not going to see. I'm going to clamp it back with some bolts. I'm not going to use the actual suspension and fit all that in yet. So a bit of messy, pleased with that. So there's one of the plates again with just some nuts put in rather than, oh, they're not nuts, are they? They're bloody bolts. Cleaned it up a little bit. So, and I've also cleaned up in there, you can see a bit of shiny metal, which is good. So the plan would be to get these in, because then we know it fits, put a couple of tack welds in. Same for over there. I've also, can you see the back there, I've flattened it all off. And then leave it open so I can put nuts on the back of that again when we come to finally do the shock absorbers. Good plan, Graham. So anyway, I hope I've cleared up a bit of confusion. I mean, unless I'm the one that's confused still, of course. But let me know. Let me know. So I'm going to get these in and see how... Right, so bolts are in. Quite pleased with that. Lovely, lovely, nice and tight all the way through. Sorry, you can't see. Bung. There you go. I mean, it's not a perfect match, but it's enough for me to get onto. Or maybe it isn't nice and tight. Look, there's a little gap there. Let me pull that in first. And on another note, I've been looking up torque settings for here, because I mentioned that. You'd be pleased to know that there's no torque settings. So what they do is recommend, there's nothing in the owner's manuals, there's nothing anywhere. The general rule of thumb is not too tight, not too loose. Brilliant. And also what you need to do is check the their tightness once it's settled after a small drive and what have you. But I do know I need to close that gap up. Oh, it's quite bad there. So let's get that sorted out and then put some welds in. Oh, right, I'm going to call that a day. Oliver's been watching. Oh, Oliver! I've been boring him to death. So yeah, that's pinched up nicely now. I'm pretty happy with that. Ideally could have made that plate a bit longer, but it's not the end of the world. So, actually that top could be pinched up. I mean, I don't want to, ironically, I don't want to knacker up the threads, but no, they're holding really well. I'm genuinely quite pleased with it. And there's enough room to put some nuts on the back of that, if needs be, which I might do anyway. They're there, But for me to do that, I've got to get all the welding equipment set up, and I've got some new gas there and things, so I'll do that tomorrow. And then we can crack on with that other one tomorrow, which is cooled down now. There we are. It got a bit hot when I cut it out, so I need to weld that into position. And there we go. But thanks for everybody for all the advice. I think I'm there. Really appreciate the concerns. I'm not dismissing anybody's opinions. I'm just trying to sort of get my way through it, and I think we're all right here. I think this is a better choice than cutting out and replacing the structural elements, because it's all pinned into the bulkhead, and you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, there's also this diagonal piece here that needs consideration too, and then getting under there to weld, that'd be really hard. So I think this is probably the best solution for the time being, and I think it's going to be a-okay, I really do. But any more thoughts and comments? If I've misunderstood something, let me know. Really open suggestions before I start putting this back together, and it's going to be even harder to undo. That's it for the time being. See you maybe tomorrow. Cheers.